Hello and welcome to the Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Shivam, and with me as always my dear friend John. Hey John.
Hello.
And today we are entering the third season of this show with Dragons of Spring Dawning, book 3 of the Chronicles. For those of you who are joining us just now, this show is a show where we are theoretically going through the entirety of all of Dragonlance, but thus far we have just gone chapter by chapter, book by book through Chronicles, starting with Autumn Twilight, going through Winter Night, and now into Spring Dawning, the climactic moment of the first trilogy, which really just launched this whole setting, sent a ship into 200 books that goes forward from there. Man, Spring Dawning is a hell of a book. I love this one. Like, Winter Night ended incredibly well, but Spring Dawning is so cool. And the cover art is the original cover art by Elmore with the bright green cover and then the frame. And then you see like Raistlin and Caramon and just like, oh my God, it's so cool looking.
It's Raistlin, Caramon, and Tika, right?
Yes. Pulling it up right now. Yeah, and the original cover here has got Race, Caramon, and Tika with Cyan Bloodbane hanging out in the background. And one of the coolest things that happened in the original version of this cover, when you see the original Elmore cover, you see Raistlin leaning slightly into the shadows and his red robes darkening to black in this cool kind of foreshadowing. The thing about that made the original Elmore cover so much better is because it was so subtle and so like left a lot to guesswork. In Winter Night, Kitiara's got her face covered. In Spring Dawning, you've got this hint of the black at the bottom of his robes. When you look at the later covers that came out, Race is just sitting there in a full-on black robe. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, just give us you see Kit there with her helmet off. And I'm like, you guys are just, you have no like appreciation for subtlety and for like suspense.
I guess they figure 30 years is enough for spoilers.
Yeah, I guess so. The original emerald green, like kind of cover of the original 3 books, when you look at them with the dark red into the blue into the green, is just such a beautiful, they look so good on like the shelves. And like, it's the sort of thing you would never see in a book these days. Like, covers tend to be homogenous and tend to have like you're like, oh, for the branding, we need to keep them all uniform so they look the same on your shelf. But like in those days, it was like, oh, give me the panoply of colors. This is Spring Dawning. It needs to be green. It would be weird if Spring Dawning was like purpley red. Like that would not work at all.
These came out in paperback originally. They didn't come out in hardback.
Yeah, they didn't come back in hardback and years and years later.
They don't even make paperback books anymore like this. Like the pulp size paperbacks, pocket size. Mm-hmm. They don't even publish those books anymore, man.
Well, that's because people write doorstops and not just pulpy 300 pages anymore. Yeah, like later on, they went to like the full art, and I was just like, the full art's fine, but I like the green frame because, like, you also see, Caramon's leg kind of popping out through and everything. It just looks sick. It was really, really cool. Before we get farther, though, we do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast. You can sign up to help support us, help keep us going, and pay for our hosting and things like that. And you may have noticed that with this show, we have a brand new logo for the show. The sick dragon in hourglass that was drawn by Josiah Cameron, who is a dear friend of mine and an artist for Magic the Gathering. And he was very, very kind to draw a beautiful, beautiful new logo for us. So I'm super stoked because that just means we need to keep recording more episodes because I don't want this to go to waste. Through your Patreon donations, we were able to afford to pay a real artist enough money to do real art for us. And that's sick. And that is where your donations and stuff are going to. And I'm just super over the moon over how cool it looks.
My Canva covers were okay, but it's nice to be able to have a real artist do this work.
Our amateur stuff was good enough when we were just fiddle faddling, but we're 3 years in. We deserve to have an actual logo.
I think we're approaching a 50th episode, actually.
Yeah, I don't know, but like you know what? The thing is, I've done many podcasts, and there's a few truisms. One of them is that the average podcast, when somebody starts, will get to about its 7th or 8th episode before it peters out and dies. Like that, episode 6, 7, 8 is the hump that you have to kind of get through when you sit there and go like, oh, I don't want to talk to these people anymore, or oh, I don't have any more ideas, or I'm kind of like, the steam is kind of run out and now this feels like work. If you get past that hump, then you are kind of onto like the golden stretch of like going forward. And here we are, literally book 3, like 50, I don't even know how many, our numbering is up or weird. We're somewhere deep into the heart of these episodes.
We're in the 40s. We're in like,
yeah, that's wild. That's wild to think about. Our deepest appreciation to all of you who listen at home for coming along with us on this ride. And honestly, it's like really just an excuse for me and John to just sit and talk for an hour or two, and it's about things we enjoy. So it's fun
to talk about Dragonlance.
Yeah. And like, the pregame, postgame, just hang out and chat talk. But here we are, Dragons of Spring dawning. And we left off with one of the most dramatic endings ever. Sturm lying dead on the ground, Laurana looking up as Kitiara is flying away, throwing the lance down. And we start up with, and I've been loud and clear about how much I hate Michael Williams' poetry, but this might be my actual favorite one of his. Michael Williams writes a letter on behalf of Tanis to Kitiara, where he's basically like, "Hey, girl, you're no good for me, so I'm gonna tag out." But like the word he uses are so good. Like, in absences you grew more beautiful, more poisonous. You were an adder of orchards in the swimming night, where passion, like a shark drawn from down a bloodstream, murders 4 senses, only taste preserving, buckling onto itself, finding its blood its own. A small wound first, but as the shark unravels, the belly tatters in the long throat's tunnel. Oh my God, dude. This is a really good poem. There's a lot of just imagery and like really just like.
Tanis is that emo high school boyfriend writing poetry for his girlfriend.
You're like, huh, where did this come from, bro? Like, you got a lot of time on the road to think about word choices. William says that this is one of his, like, this is a love poem he wrote for an old girlfriend of his, but it was much happier, and he ended up just turning it a lot darker. And he was like, you know what? This is Tanis. This doesn't fit Tanis the way he figured later on, where Tanis is supposed to be a little bit more nervous and scared and less suave. Like this is way too suave for the way Tanis is feeling right now.
Yeah, as clumsy as Tanis appears for everything else, like it's like, oh, who knew he was such a poet?
Yeah, like this. It's great though. I think it's just some of the others, like prose poetry that's in these books, is so clunky and so storyish. But this one has all the kind of poetry that I just really enjoy. So I thought, I was like, I should call out the few times that Williams does something I really do like. I liked him a lot better as an author than as a poet, but
its ending is like really ironic, intentionally so, obviously, I think, where he says, oh, I have to leave because I have to do the right thing. And Sturm and Laurana know what the right thing is. And especially Sturm, when I think of him,
yeah,
he would be very disappointed in me if I stayed with you. And it's like, yeah,
he would.
He would. And he just got killed by your girlfriend.
Exactly. Like, homie's just lying there dead on the ground, comes from like Paladine's Dome of Creation and goes like, Tanis. But I really like the last line though. And so into the shadow, and not your shadow, but the eager grayness expecting light, I ride the storm away. Ah, I love that. It's so good. It's like, no, I know you're in black, lady, but like, remember, just because the gray is in between the black and the white doesn't mean it always leans to black. Sometimes it can lean back to white. And I think that in itself is a really poignant kind of way to start the climax moments of this trilogy, because we're climbing back out of the dark. We're climbing out of like the pit of winter and going back to spring dawning. And so it's like, it's really just, it's a really fluid moment. I like it a lot.
It's a good reminder of how, even though Winter Night ends on a down, but it doesn't end with Sturm's death, right? We forget, like, oh, Sturm died, book ends. It's like, no, Laurana says I'm going to fight and we're going to win and no one's going to stop me. And then Alhana is back in Sylvanesti and there's healing in Sylvanesti and she's dedicated, right? Oh, even the winters come, I need to save my people. So it's time to leave here and go. Like, there is hope. There is the bloom of, it's only one tree. It's a small hope, but there's hope.
Exactly. Like, you know what, man? Like, you don't need to have the infinite rainbows. You can just have the one flower struggling through the snow. But that one flower is a harbinger of places to come.
Yeah. And it's the same here in his note. Like, hey, I'm leaving darkness into darkness, but it's a darkness hoping for light, not the embrace of darkness that is Kitiara.
Yeah, right? Like, It's basically like, yo, you know what? You're bad news. We need to call this a day. And then we move into the prologue of the book, which is the Everman. And this is an interesting little interlude here because finally we understand and are told who this character who's been showing up in all the books, just kind of chasing us through the story, this shadow that's been like red herring the whole time. We finally get Berem's story in the background.
Yeah, why is he important?
Yeah. And so, it starts out, they're in Naraka, where they're from. They're off in the woods, Berem and his sister. They're like, they find his path and they're following down the path. And at the end of the path is like, there's no food, there's no vegetables, everything is dead.
How many years before the current time, or how many years after the cataclysm is like Berem here?
So that's a very good question. We aren't told in the books per se, but we are told in like the Leaves of the End of the Last Home and in like a lot of the rules supplement books that Berem finds the stone in 157 AC, so 157 years after the cataclysm. So effectively, what happens here is that I don't want to spoil what the stone is yet, like because we don't know what it is in the book, and some of you listening at home might not have read this in a while. But basically, 157 years after the cataclysm, Berem and his sister Jasla find this stone. They're off hunting. They're from Naraka, which is just a tiny little village at the time.
Is it near Palanthos? Because that's the city that gets mentioned.
No, Naraka is basically in the center of the continent in the Caucasus Mountains, near like all the ogre lands and all the evil places, very north, just north of Sanction. So like if you look, there's the New Sea in the middle, and then there's Sanction, and then you go deeper into the mountain, and that's where Naraka is.
Okay, because he mentions Palanthos here. He says, "Oh, if we take this, we could go there."
We'll get there in a second. So basically, these guys are going down the pathway, and we see that his sister is this lovely, just bright flower of a human, just totally kind and wonderful and everything. And then they find this track that they've never seen before. They follow it, they go down it, and it's weird because it's super dead and super desolate of life. And like Berem's like, yeah, man, everything is hard and life sucks, but
there's like a fire, like that's why they've never seen it before, is perhaps like a
like apparently like a fire, like, or a lightning bolt or something hit and blew up some brush,
struck and cleared up all the brush. So like this is the first time this area has been cleared.
Yeah. And so they go, and then they see this little sparkle coming through as if it's some kind of like pile of jewelry or gems or something. And these guys are very, very poor hunters and farmers living Scrabble lives in the middle of nowhere. And so they're like, oh, dude, this is money. This is like, we can survive. And Berem runs forward, and Jocelyn's like, how beautiful is this place? Did you ever see anything like it? Such beautiful jewels in this horrible place. She looks around, and I feel her shivering. I wonder what this used to be. There's such a solemn feeling about it, a holy feeling, but an evil feeling too. It must have been a temple before the cataclysm, a temple to the evil gods. Berem, what are you doing? And Berem's like, I take out my hunting knife and I begin to chip away at the stone around one of the jewels, a radiant green gemstone. It is as big as my fist and sparkles more brilliantly than the sun shining on green leaves. The rock around it comes away easily beneath my knife blade. Stop it, Berem. Her voice is shrill. It's desecration. This place is sacred to some god. I know it. So here we are. Berem has found this pillar encrusted in jewels. He sees this green jewel, this green gemstone, you might say. And he's like, okay, screw it. We're going to take it off. And Jocelyn's like, no, this is bad. This is terrible. We're going to be in trouble if you do this.
Yeah, this is sacrilege. Some god is going to be angry with us if we do this.
Yeah, but Berem, living almost like 150 years post-cataclysm, is in the era where there are no gods. There are no masters. These people have all left. They've abandoned them, if they ever existed at all. And Berem's just thinking about the fact that, look, dude, if we have this, we can get food. We can get shelter. I can take you to see Palanthos. That's where he says it. Palanthos is a city so big and famous that even out here in the wilds, they still know about it.
And it's like a place where like comfort is, right? There's no comfort in a post-apocalyptic world, but if there is comfort, it's in this big city.
Yeah, exactly. Even though it's thousands of miles away, it's just the legendary city on the hill, right? Like the way that when in Autumn Twilight, they're like, oh man, once we get to Tarsus, everything's going to be better. And they go to Tarsus and there's like, ships are wrecked on the seashore or whatever, on the sand. We'll get enough money to live off of this. We can move away, blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, Jostle's like, this is sacrilege. I forbid it. And Berem's like, just shut up. You have leave me alone. And like suddenly, like this wave of greed has kind of come over him, and this kind of just like anger is coming over him as he's reaching for this gem. And he grabs her and he shoves his sister, and he's already way stronger than her, and she's already emaciated and thin because they've been basically living a starvation diet. And he shoves her so hard she slams into the pillar, hits her head, and basically falls against a broken column dead.
Yeah.
Right, and her blood like just soaks into the stone, which is very important.
And then blood covers the pillar, the ground splits, and columns of darkness rise from the ground.
Yeah.
It's like a blood sacrifice here in this unknown temple of the evil gods.
Sure seems like a challenge. And then Berem feels this burning in his chest where suddenly this stone has been embedded itself. And then we come back to the present, and we are here, and he's on the deck of the Perchicon or Paracon, whatever the ship's name is. His captain Maquesta is like yelling at him and saying like, "Hey, dude, I don't pay statues, so get to work or get under the deck or whatever it is." We see Berem now, and he looks like he's 50 or 60, but his hands are somehow too youthful. He doesn't talk. His mind is apparently stuck at childhood level, or at least that's what everybody thinks.
That's what he plays, right? He just plays like a simpleton.
Yeah, a simpleton. He's got, you know, limited mental facilities, but he's very, very good at being a helmsman and keeping the ship going. And Mac is just like, okay, look, dude, I'm sorry I yelled at you. Like, I get it. I apologize. I wish you would tell me what's going on in that head of yours. But then Berem lays down his hammock, and suddenly the vision starts again. So you get the notion that this is just an endless loop of the last moment of his life.
This is what he sees when he closes his eyes or when he's not totally distracted, is this story of how he became who he was, the Green Gemstone Man.
Yeah, basically the worst thing to happen. But like, we aren't told the date in this novel, but we're told it's a long time ago, and that somewhere in there he just stopped aging, and now he's just kind of stuck in this forever.
Yep.
I mean, as evinced by the fact that, you know, a million rocks fell on him in Black Darkness, and he's still here.
He apparently walked away from that somehow.
Yeah. I don't know. Even with immortality, I feel like digging out from underneath a bunch of boulders is like going to take a minute.
Oh, I figured that it happened when the dragon armies like finally got through.
Oh, somebody just shoveled all the thing down.
Like they were just digging out the fortress to get through, and then like they just found a corpse, and he acted like a corpse, and they threw him away, and then
he's like, "All right, GG's."
Got up and left.
And snapped my bones back into place. And now we start book 1, chapter 1, Flight from Darkness into Darkness.
With a nasty picture of a dragon lord.
Yeah. Weird dragon in the front cover and then Dragon High Lord inside. We start up in Flotsam, which is the town right on the coast of the Blood Sea. It's a real hood of a town. It's like where all the garbage and like terrible people and just stuff end up washed up and hanging out.
This is where we left Tanis, Karaman, Raceland, and that group of the companions.
Mm-hmm. When Tanis disappears for like a week. The thing is interesting is like, we're told a few details here, which are kind of neat. One is that he's dressed in steel dragon scale armor, which is apparently a knockoff of the actual dragon scale armor that the High Lords wear. So like, so they're making their armor out of actual dragon scales, which is kind of sick.
Oh, interesting.
As opposed to just like, you know, steel shaped to look like dragon scales.
Also very expensive, right? If steel is the coin of the realm and you're basically walking around in money.
That is one of the weird things that never made sense. Hey, dude, like, if you're walking around with an armor and sword, isn't that just like tens of thousands of dollars you're wearing every day? But that might be why steel is so useful, because you can turn it into armor. But that doesn't make sense because
it's an idea that makes sense. It's like, oh, I want to make a post-apocalyptic world where things are dark.
Yeah.
No one has a use for gold, but then when you put it into the world, it would make a lot more sense if everyone wasn't running around with a steel sword. If there was like more people with copper swords or bronze swords.
Yeah.
And steel was this incredibly rare
and expensive. Yeah.
but it doesn't seem rare. Everyone has it. So it's like, it doesn't make sense as a monetary unit.
I think that actually, in hindsight, that actually would be way cooler. Like, because it would make way more sense if like the common metals and stuff, or even just iron.
Yeah.
Just an iron sword, because like forging steel is hard.
Yeah.
And requires dwarves and requires effort and work. But like all these dudes have just like steel and like turbo armor and swords and things.
Yeah.
If you think about the armor that we've been told, like Sturm's steel armor and sword is a treasure that is passed down from hand to hand. Karaman's got like beat up stuff that he had from his mercenary days.
That's like kind of maybe patched together.
Yeah, exactly.
They could have explained it better, I think. And they could have leaned more into it, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, and also Hickman had this idea of like, yo, you know what? Gold is soft and only useful for currency in a post-apocalyptic world. Steel is way more useful. You can use it to make swords and shields and things. And they didn't really realize that you can't reforge steel. Like once you've made something into steel and you melt it down, suddenly it's not going to have the strength that it did before.
It's weakened.
Yeah. It's funny because like in earlier novels and stuff, when they're talking about the steel currency, you see them doing things like trading arrowheads.
Yeah.
Like steel arrowheads as currency makes sense.
Yeah. Or even like a sword. Like, hey, this is a valuable steel sword. It's not an iron sword. It's not bronze.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, oh, well, it's got to be worth a lot, but you're not going to melt it down into a coin. It's just like, it's a expensive thing that I have to use because
right.
If I'm fighting, I mean, if you had a steel sword and you were fighting people who were only in leather or like bronze armor, like that's a huge up because your steel sword is going to cut right through it.
That's the end of the Iron Age. I mean, that's the whole thing that created the end of the Bronze Age and the Iron Age in humanity, right? Like,
yeah,
the existence of steel let you just carve through people who've got like butter soft bronze armor.
Yeah, would be like you say, like a spear point.
Yeah.
Because you put it on like a pole arm and now, I can stand 15 feet away from you and just cut through your shield and everything.
Or I can use it to hunt.
Yeah.
I can get food with it. I can actually do things that are like valuable for life.
Interesting idea. It just feels like they never capitalized on it enough in the stories.
It feels like a thing that sounded like a really cool idea when you're just doing a couple of modules in a trilogy that ends up being a real pain in the butt when you're doing 200 modules for 40 years, you know?
Or just writing stories and it wasn't highlighted enough in these foundational texts.
Yeah.
For any of the other authors to pick up and be like, oh, I shouldn't have everyone with a steel sword. People should have like clubs or bronze or something. It just didn't happen. And one, it doesn't make sense because they talk about, when they go and the Draconian's forges are going and they're making all this steel. It's like, where are they getting all this? If it's supposed to be like they're devaluing the currency rapidly if they're producing steel swords, like
right.
It would quickly go from a steel economy to a different one if all of a sudden every armor was pumping out steel armor.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there, just us nerding out.
The whole thing of using steel in Dragonlance has always been a real annoyance.
I can imagine the flame wars on Usenet.
Oh God, for years of trying to figure out how to make this stupid currency work. And it's just like, what the hell, man? But like, that's why I liked 4th edition D&D devaluing the currency. And instead of being like a gold economy where everything is 40 gold pieces, and like, how many gold pieces are you lucking around? Who's just got like these vats of jewelry hanging out with them? It's like, no, dude, everything is in silvers and coppers. And if you get gold, great. That's rare and expensive. But like most food is going to be like a couple of silver pieces or whatever.
Yeah.
So here we are. This officer is coming down the stairs of this inn, and we discover very quickly, because they show you that underneath his mask, underneath his helm is a bright reddish brown beard. And it's like, there's only one red-brown beard in all of Dragonland so far. And that's our boy Tanis. We're told that it's currently the coldest it's ever been in Flotsam for 300-something years, which is about the existence of the town, because before the Cataclysm, this didn't exist.
Yeah.
He's putting gloves on, and the innkeeper's like, so you expecting the High Lord tonight? And he's like, no, totally not. And it's like, do you want me to let her know where you're going? No, that's fine. I left her a note. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, he's like, oh, where are you going? What you doing? And he's like, it's none of your business.
I would also be like, hey, bud, that's not your problem unless you want to die right now.
Yeah. He's like, I left a note.
But it's also the way he's saying is like, I left her, and she even writes in all the random hesitations and M dashes. It's so funny.
Oh my goodness, this innkeeper is this line right here. That won't be necessary, the officer muttered. I've left her a note explaining my absence. Besides, I'll be back before morning. I just need a breath of air, that's all. I don't doubt that, the innkeeper sniggered. You haven't left her room for 3 days. Or should I say 3 nights? Now don't get mad. I admire the man can keep her satisfied that long. Where was she bound for? It's like this innkeeper, man.
None of that's your business. And why are you asking about a dragon lord's life? Like you're going to. That's like a quick way to die.
Yeah.
And what I don't understand is why Tanis answers him.
Yeah.
And Tanis like, I don't know, she went to Salomnia or something. And I'm like, why the hell would you tell him that? He's an innkeeper.
Yeah.
It's none of his damn business. Especially one who's like prying into your love life like that or whatever.
Also, why did he tell his name? The innkeeper goes, oh yeah, certainly not. Well, I bid you a good evening. What was your name? She introduced us, but I failed to catch it. And he goes, Tanis Half-Elven. Why would you say that?
But I guess it doesn't matter because she does know he was there.
Or just say Tanis. Why are you telling strangers you're a half-elf when you face like a world of
like bigotry and hatred? But he's also wearing a dragon army outfit.
Just say Tanis, or just say
none of your damn business.
Hufflepuff, anything. Like it's not his business.
Yeah, Hufflepuff. Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, my name is Schlottenheim Reinbach III. What do you need? Like, why would you tell this guy who's a nobody nothing your name when you know that these names will get around?
Yeah.
But also, it's funny that he's like, I just need a breath of air when we're talking about like gale force winds outside and like a storm that's like shut down all the inns and slammed all the doors that he can't even open the door.
But he has been cooped up in that room for 3 days straight. So
yeah, he's like, I need to get out. I don't care how bad it is. Just let me out. And so, yeah, they go outside and it is unbelievably bad weather. The gale's blowing everywhere. The lights are flickering. It's nighttime.
There's one thing in the inn when he went down, there was a drunk, sleeping draconian.
Sure.
And as we're reading it, Tanis, again, he walks out. And then as soon as he walks out, the draconian, like, was not drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Kit is not a dummy. She has this, she put a watch on Tanis.
Yeah.
And as soon as he leaves, he starts being followed by this draconian.
Yeah.
And Tanis fails all of his checks. He's supposed to be a good ranger kind of guy, but he fails all of his checks.
Yeah, well, he's currently under a befuddlement.
Under duress, yeah.
One thing that's interesting is that they do call the draconian it here, even though like sometimes you see draconians listed as he, because of the fact that in this era of the books, there are no female draconians. There are only male draconians, or only just draconians, really, genderless, because they didn't want the draconians to breed and create a community and a society that might lead them to rebel against the cases.
It's like Jurassic Park.
It happens eventually. So here we are. The innkeeper goes to the night watchman, and he's like, wake me up if the High Lord comes. And then he's like, you know what? Maybe just let me sleep instead. I don't need whatever's going on there.
He's like, I don't want to deal with it. That's too much.
Yeah. Tanis goes out. They've been here for 4 days.
Yeah, he's heading to the shabby inn where the rest of the companions are.
Yeah. They've been here for 4 days, and he's been gone for 3 of them.
And they have no idea where he's been, right? He didn't get any notice.
No.
The last time anyone saw him, Caramon and him separated after they went to the ship.
Yeah, and then he got clubbed in the alleyway and woke up with Kit, and now he's just like,
Yeah, has been there.
Whoops. He goes and he stumbles and fights his way through this cold. He gets to the inn, the jetties that they're staying at. There's no night clerk there, so there's like a stubby candle. He takes a candle, he's trying to light it, his hands are freezing cold, and he finally gets to work. He climbs up the stairs, and the scene shifts. And suddenly, we're in Raceland and Caramon's room, and Race is just waking Caramon up going, Caramon, I heard a noise outside, the sound of a scabbard clanking in armor. And Caramon, is like sleeping naked, and he's just like shakes his head, shakes all the sleep out. And then he quiets down and hears the noise that wakes his brother. Here's the jingle of armor slowly, quietly coming up the stairs. because Tanis is enough of a ranger that he can at least sneak in plate mail.
And they see the candle, and this is so good because Karaman doesn't even wait, right? As soon as Karaman is ready, he opens the door, grabs the person, and brings them into the room. And Raceland's already starting to cast a spell. Like,
yeah, I thought that was so good.
they are very good, effective fighters together. Like Karaman and Raceland, the brothers Major, are like, they're good fighters.
Right, like
They hate each other, but they're good fighters.
yeah, well, that's one of the things I really like about this scene is that Margaret takes a minute to remind us that Raist and Karaman know how to fight together, know how to work in tandem with their abilities. Like, Karaman will grab the guy, constrain him, Raist gets a web spell ready to, like, tie him down or whatever it is. Like, they will work in a way that supplements each other. Like, they're legitimately good. They're a great team. They're twins. They've got the ability to communicate incredibly well. They fight incredibly well. You see it a lot in Soulforge and in Brothers in Arms, the way that they get together and they stay out of each other's way, but work sympathetically. And I think it's really sick to finally see a little bit of that, even though hilariously it's for their boy Tanis.
So Tanis is like, no, stop. And they stop. Like Raceland immediately starts with the third degree. He's like, where you been, Tanis?
Karaman's first like, oh, hang on. Like, you're freezing. Let's get this stuff. Race is like, hey, go get the others. They're going to want to know. And then as soon as Karaman leaves, and Ray's like, by the way, put some clothes on, you idiot. And Karaman grabs a pant on her shirt. So literally, think about this. Tanis is in full-on spiky plate mail with, like, dragon seal scales and whatever. And Karaman runs out there and bear hugs him naked and is still able to, like, constrain this dude.
Manhandle him.
Obviously, Tanis doesn't want to hurt Karaman, so he's not trying to. But nonetheless, he can manhandle a dude in full plate mail enough to be able to bring him back so his brother can deal with it.
Karaman's a tough guy.
I thought that was a really funny scene.
They all gather, and Raceland asks, where have you been? And Tanis is like, oh, the Dragon High Lord captured me. He thought I was an officer. He asked to escort him back to the army. I had to. It took me this long to escape. Raceland's like, really?
Yeah.
Tell me some more about that. Like,
Interesting. Raceland coughed the word. Tanis glanced at him sharply. What's interesting? I've never heard you lie before, half-elf, Raceland said softly. I find it quite fascinating.
No one else calls him on it. The rest of them just take it, right? Why would Tanis lie to them? He's never lied to them before.
Yeah, and they all know that if Raceland did call on them, Tanis could say the sun was purple, and they'd be like, well, Tanis wouldn't lie to us.
They ask him what happened. He tells the lie again. They ask thoughtful questions, and Tanis evades the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to provide enough real answers to get him off his back. Most of the time, he's worried that Raceland's going to contradict him.
Yeah, but he's also like, yeah, I don't know who the High Lord is. Totally don't. And then, they're searching for someone.
And then he says, like, we have to leave immediately.
Yeah.
I can't tell you why. We're in grave danger.
Yeah. They're looking for someone named Berem. Huh. And then he looks at Karaman, and Karaman's got a blank stare because he's not the smartest heap in the shadows here.
He failed his lore check there.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, phew, you don't remember the dude on the Paracon or, like, anything else. And then, of course, Goldmoon's like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. We've been keeping you up. You're cold and tired. You probably want to sleep. We got to get up for the boat in the morning. And Tanis snaps at her, and she's like, damn it, Goldmoon, don't be a fool. We won't board a ship in this gale. And everybody's like, stops and stares at Tanis, and they're like, I beg your pardon? Who the hell are you? Like, nobody yells at Goldmoon. Nobody ever yells at Goldmoon. She's chieftain's daughter. She's the nobility. She's a princess. But she's also like...
She's a priest.
Yeah.
She's a cleric.
And she's the nicest person in the goddamn party. Who are you to yell at her?
She's never done anything to, like, deserve this snap.
Yeah, it's like yelling at mom. Like, what? Why would you do that?
And so he apologizes. He's like, oh, I'm just, under a lot of stress.
Oh, yeah. Weiss has a great note in the annotated. She's like, Tanis snarling, especially at Goldmoon. I love this moment. It provided us with the first signs of Tanis losing the sheen on his armor. Tanis is just like, He's under a little bit of tension right now.
I think there's been some unrecognized tension in Tanis. There's some darkness in him that he's avoided dealing with. I think this book makes him deal with it, right? Like he does have to deal with his inner demons in Spring Dawning.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the cracks because he's been ignoring it for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that Kit's back in his life has brought it to the fore. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Just as Weiss says, the sheen is coming off.
Oh, yeah. He's a spring that's been wound too tight, and now it's starting to fray, and it's just like,
They all go to sleep. He stays up all night because, he's anxious. And then we go back to the inn where he left from. It's near morning. The storm is still happening. And Kit shows up. And everyone said, oh, no one would fly through this. No, not even dragons can fly through this. Well, Kittyar returns and she's real angry. And we know why she's real angry. She just lost a huge battle.
Yeah.
She lost her army. She lost 2 dragons. She lost someone who was a friend at one point.
All current death things aside, she had spent literal decades with Sturm, right? Like she grew up with him.
Yeah.
They're in their 30s together. It's kind of wild that she would of course be sad about it.
She gets there and the room's empty, of course. And the Draconian who is following Tanis is there and she's like, where did he go? Was it with another woman?
Also, she had to fly clear across the continent to get here. So it's probably took a couple of days. I mean, I don't think the timeline works out that would let her come back from the High Claris Tower to here that quickly.
Her first question was,
is it another woman?
Like, where did he go? And then the very next question was, another woman. And he's like, I don't think so. He does have friends there.
Yeah.
We had reports of strangers in the inn, but they weren't the Green Gemstone man, so we didn't investigate. And she's like, are they being monitored now? And they're like, of course, they're being monitored now.
Who's he sleeping with? I was like, dude, this is Tanis. He doesn't even sleep with himself, man. Are you kidding? She sits there and she thinks about other dudes that she could have instead who are just much more amenable to her cause. She sends the Draconian off. They make a weird note here, like stripping her armor off with a careless lack of modesty. I'm like, she's standing next to a lizard man.
Yeah.
What does she worried about? I don't think there's modesty as the issue here. But then the Draconian leaves. He sees a little scrap of parchment on the floor, written with a delicate Elvish script, because apparently Tanis doesn't write in Common, he writes in Elven.
And apparently Kit reads Elven.
Oh, they all read Elven.
Oh.
Real talk, they grew up in a town near the Elflands. It makes sense that they would have at least some familiarity with the Elvish language and the Elvish people.
This is one of those things that I think Americans have a hard time understanding, that in a lot of places in the world, people know 3, 4, 5 languages, and it's just normal.
Yeah.
Because here in the United States, most people just know one.
Right. I mean, it's the old joke, right? You call it person who speaks 3 languages, trilingual, bilingual, and what do you call someone who speaks 1 language? American or British, depending.
Yeah.
Think about it. Where they live, they've got the Plains tribes, each of which speaks a slightly different dialect of the Plains speak, Quayshu, Kiri, and stuff forth. They've got the Qualinesi elves who speak Elven. They've got the dwarves of Thorbarden, the hill dwarves who speak a different dialect of Dwarven.
Do the Kinders have their own language?
No, Kender speak Common. They have Kender talk, which is kind of like a patois.
It's just coder.
Yeah. They like the language of whatever the common area of where they're at. Where Solus is a big trade town in the middle of Abyssinia. So all these people are going to be coming through. And Tanis grew up learning to read and write Elven.
Yeah. I knew Tanis knew it. It was Kit knowing it. So,
I mean, I guess he can still write in the Elvish script in Common. His just handwriting is going to be fancy cursive.
It could be that. But that's how the chapter ends. The Draconian closes the door and he hears, what does it say here? It says, as the Draconian shut the door, there came a crashing sound. The sound of a piece of dragon armor being hurled for force against a wall.
Yeah. Sounds like somebody read a poem that she didn't like very much.
Yeah, she didn't appreciate all the work that Tanis put into that poetry.
Yeah, all that imagery of darkness and light. And she's like, what the hell?
I mean, that would be pretty insulting if you got a thing from your boyfriend.
Yeah. That
you rehooked up with. And basically it's oh, I love you, but it's the wrong and you're evil. So gotta go.
Yeah. It's not you, it's me. And it's also your goddess.
Our love is like a bloodthirsty shark eating itself. So I gotta go. I say that with the most beautiful imagery I could come up to, but what it boils down to is you're toxic.
Yeah. And he's like, look, dude, I'm going to go to where the sun is shining and where people are happy again. So bye.
And that is how chapter 1 ends.
Jeez.
Before we start chapter 2, Pursuit, I just wanted to thank everyone for being a listener. As Shiva mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you can always support us at our Patreon page. Details are at www.patreon.com/Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast. One of the benefits for patrons is a shout out to our $5 and above patrons. So I will do that now. A big thanks to Alexander Louis, Nicholas Campo, Swardango, Chris Andrew, Jason Bledsoe, Brandon Brown, John Merlino Jr., Jane Newwolf, Andrew Arsenal, Todd Fisher, Iskander Bilge, Matthew Williams, Kevin Don, Eric Schold, Paresh Patel, Robert Fisher, Tom Bertram, Scott Williams, The Nine Duncan, Ilya Tulik, Adam Squires, Diana D., and Jamie Gerber. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate it.
Man, that list keeps getting longer, and
I love it.
It's so cool. I'm just telling you, we're getting to a point where it's going to be weird to have to spend like 3 minutes to read the thing out.
Chapter 2, Pursuit. Some sick dragons on the chapter art here.
Man, these books just had the best inner art. We've said it over and over again.
That's Sky, right? That's got to be Sky. Or Ski.
It's Ski Sky. I've called him Ski my whole life. I'm certain it's supposed to be Sky. Everybody else calls him Sky. I'm just not going to. Kellandros. Like, look, that's obviously it's a dragon high lord on a blue dragon, or like on some dragon with a bunch of them behind him. But it just looks sick, though. It's a bunch of dragons flying over the sea. Here we are, chapter 2, Pursuit. The storm seems to have petered itself out, but it's still ominously gray and gross outside. Tanis is, and Karaman, of course, thinks he's like the god king of all like pirate adventures now because he listens to a bunch of stories and like, the sea seems to be running high now. Everybody's like, sure, buddy, whatever you say. But Tanis is like paranoid and terrified.
He's done a complete 180 as well. Remember, he yelled at Goldmoon the night before that they were not leaving in the morning. And then here they are in the morning and he's saying, we're going today. If we have to swim, we're leaving. And it's like, buddy, you just yelled at Goldmoon when she said the exact same thing 5 hours ago.
Yeah, well, he's running away from, himself and his girlfriend and like everything bad. And he's like, I got to leave now, yesterday. And of course, they all heard him because like the next sentence is the others glanced at each other and then looked back at Tanis because they're like, hey, buddy, remember last night? We do. He's staring out the window, so he doesn't see their raised eyebrows or shrugging shoulders. Then he's like, look, I know I sound arbitrary, but there are dangers that I know about that I can't explain now. There isn't time. All I can tell you is this. We have never in our lives been in more dire peril than we are at this moment in this town. Must leave, and we must leave now. He heard a hysterical note creep into his voice and broke off. So this dude is definitely on edge.
He said, I can't explain now, but it would take too long. There isn't time. Buddy, it doesn't take that much to say, hey, I ran into my ex-girlfriend, Karaman and Raceland's sister. She's the High Dragon Lord. I made a mistake. She's coming to kill us or take us. Like, yeah. You explained it. And then you could say, hey, you know what, guys? I messed up. I'm sorry, but we can't deal with that right now. You can yell at me as soon as we get on the ship.
Yeah, like it's definitely like, look, I mean, even all he has to say is like, look, dude, they know who we are. You don't even need to say who the High Lord is. It's like,
yeah,
they're looking for you, Karaman and Raceland. So we need to leave now.
They know who we are and they're looking for us.
Yeah.
That's all you had to say.
And then, of course, like, there's silence. And then Karaman's like, sure, Tanis. Goldman's like, we're packed. We can leave whenever you want.
Tanis could feel Raceland's strange eyes boring into him. It was as if Raceland could penetrate the darkness of the half-elf soul with the glittering light from those golden eyes. Like, he's terrified that Raceland's just going to be like, call him out in public and then they'll have to have the fight.
Right. But he's also angry. He's like, why won't you? And Raceland's just like, I'm going to let you hang yourself, half-elf. Good luck. I don't seem to need to do anything at all. I'm just going to chill until you're ready.
That's a good point. It's like, why do I have to do anything? You're doing a great job of self-immolation there.
There's a show on Netflix called The Residence. If you haven't seen it, it's like a fantastic detective show that just came out about a murder in the White House. And like in one of the scenes, the detective is talking to one of the janitors or whatever in the building, and she just stares at him. And he's like, starts talking. And then he stops and he kind of trails off and she's just staring at him still. He's like, oh, I'm sure you want to hear about this thing. And he starts talking again. And like for the whole 5 minutes, he just works himself fully into like all these corners and starts dumping all this information. And she literally has not said a word or moved at all. And that's literally what Rayson's doing. He's just here and he's just looking and he's like, what do you got? I got nothing to say. I'm going to listen to whatever you want, buddy. And Tanis is just like swinging in the wind here.
Some people can't stand the silence, so they have to fill it.
That is, are you subtweeting me in person?
No, just talking about Tanis.
No, Tanis is just like you. There's this point where sometimes you get this so much nervous guilt and energy that you're just like, even the slightest thing will make you just dump your whole story. They weren't even looking for it, and you're just like, I've got it. I need to tell this secret. They all get ready, they get their stuff, and they start going down. And then we switch over to Maquesta Carthon, who is over in the ship. Her first mate calls out, like, there's passengers here. And she's like, send them back. We're not sailing today. Screw this. And then there's an altercation. Her first mate, who's a Minotaur, he starts fighting with the guests who are coming on. And then one of them shoves through, like, Maquesta is like, finally, like, what the hell's going on? She opens the door, goes out, and sees our friends hanging out here. A bearded guy in a Dragon Army uniform. And she's like, look, dude, we're not sailing today. It's crazy. You're crazy. We're going home. And Tanis is like, Maquesta, I need to talk to you like right now. Like right now. The Minotaur's like cracking his knuckles, waiting for a fight.
Is this the first time we've been introduced to Minotaurs here? I think it is.
Yes, it is. Because Minotaurs are sailors and they live all the way on this side of the continent.
This is the first Minotaur character, the first mate.
Yeah. Bazan Koraf, the first Minotaur in Dragonlance. Later on, there'll be tons more because Rick Knack loves Minotaurs and writes many, many trilogies about them. It all starts because he loved writing about Kaz, who was Huma's best friend, and a Minotaur. And he turned the Minotaurs basically into evil versions of the Knights of Solamnia with all the honor and the...
Isn't it like Imperial Rome? Doesn't he just... It's like a Roman Empire, but of Minotaurs?
Yeah, it becomes more so that on Talatis than here, but it's effectively, they're gladiatorial, they're honor-bound, they fit the vibe of Sargonis, who is their patron god, the evil god of warfare. And he's basically like, I won't stab you in the back, but I will force you to fight with me face to face. Just very much the lawful evil types.
Mm-hmm.
But he's here, and evil or not, he's just like, look, I protect my ship and I protect my captain.
He's ready to fight.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm here to throw down, buddy.
Tanis is trying to convince her. He's like, hey, we're in danger. And she's like, look, if you're in danger, that's your own problem.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, you don't understand. He's like, I'm not in danger. He's like, you're in danger.
Yeah.
The dragon armies are here in Flotsam because they're looking for your helmsman.
And she's like, the half-wit?
Yeah. She's like, why? And he's like, I don't know.
They're not telling me.
Maybe the dragon armies don't know, but I do know that they're coming for Berem. And then she's like, okay, well, I can fix that. I'll just get rid of Berem.
Yeah, throw him on the floor, whatever, who cares? And he's like, no, you don't get it, dude. Like, the dragon armies aren't going to stop. They're not going to just let you go just because you threw this guy down. They're going to come and they're going to burn your ship down the way they burned the village down, the way they burned the nation down.
Yeah, it's like anyone who touches this guy gets destroyed.
Yeah.
It's not enough that you abandon him. You know he exists, and apparently that's enough for the worst things to happen to you.
And she's still like, wait, we talking about the same Berem? Tanis is just losing his mind here, and he's just finally exhausted. He's like, look, dude, the High Lord was in Solamnia, but the High Lord will be back today. And then, and his head sank into his hands as a shudder racked his body. And Maquesta is like eyeing him, like looking at this guy just have a full-on breakdown in her office.
She doesn't even know Tanis, and it says here, like, Maquesta helped Tanis to his feet, studying the half-elf with the same intense scrutiny she fixed on a man wanting to sign on as a crew member. She saw at once that the half-elf had changed drastically since she had seen him only 4 days before, when he and the big man behind him closed the bargain for passage aboard the Persian. He looks like he's been through the abyss and back, probably in some sort of trouble, she decided ruefully. She doesn't even know this guy, and she can tell, like, oh man, he's been through the ringer.
Mm-hmm.
So how much more are the companions not saying if it's so clear to an absolute stranger? Like, how much more clear it must be to Gold Moon and Riverwind and even Karaman. Like, and they're just being nice, right? Because he's their friend.
Seriously, there's this line where she's like, oh, what did she say? Oh, yeah. Maquesta's like, she's seen corpses that looked better than this half elf because he just looks, he's got hollow eyes, he's got a green tinge of skin beneath his beard. He's just looking completely like a walking wreck. And yeah, obviously the companions are probably looking at him like, what the hell happened to you, dude? Like, you went away 3 days ago and now you come back and you're just like this paranoid crazy man.
She finally believes him. She's like, okay, he must be lying about something else, but I better go because it's better to be out in the ocean on a ship.
Yeah, I'd rather be out on the open sea than trapped like a rat on shore.
Yeah. So she's like, let's go. We're leaving. And the ship sails out of Flotsam, heading straight into the Blood Sea.
Well, it starts going north, and then, the wind and stuff, so it starts blowing them into the Blood Sea. But we do get a bit of an interesting info dump here. First off, we learn that our dear Few Master, the Hobgoblin Toad, has continued spectacularly falling upwards and is now apparently in charge of the East as a brand new Dragon High Lord. Because I believe he's the new High Lord of the White Army to replace the guy who died in Icewall.
It's just a shock that Toad...
Yeah, but it's a shock. It's somehow like even the Dark Queen. You think really that's the best she's got? The most like this friggin' Hobgoblin is the best she's got. And for those of you who didn't listen, our last episode with Jeff Grubb, he tells us a fantastic story about Lord Toad and how he was given the ability to write the novel about Lord Toad. And he was like, he calls his editor and says, so one thing, Toad's dead. You killed him in a different story. And he's like, can you work with that? Cannot wait till we read that novel. It's so good.
Yeah, they're heading north into the Blood Sea. There's some comments about from the sailors where they're talking. Riverwind's like, oh, I thought it was a myth. I didn't know the Red Sea was actually red, And it's like, oh, is it truly the blood from all the people who died? And like one of the sailors is like, don't be ridiculous. It's because the soil's red and there's a big gyre in the center of it that no man has ever seen.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps it.
Yeah, it's a big giant forever maelstrom that just keeps spinning. But yeah, the Blood Sea itself, all the water itself is bright, vivid red. To like the description here, it says red is the robes that the mage wore, red is the blood that was on his lips when he coughed. And so it's like, yeah, it's red. But there is a giant storm in the middle. There's a giant maelstrom that spins and spins and spins, and like a sort of like a butter churning up all the bottom of the ocean, making it. Yeah, we don't know why it's blood red. It's blood red because it sounds cool, or where this maelstrom is, flushing down into.
It says no one has seen it. No living sailor I know has seen it, but we know it.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of short stories and stuff of people who have, but
there's a thing where like Tanis is looking at Berem and he's like, oh, I think I can see a glow in his chest. And then he remembers what happened back at Paktharkis. Why does Takesis want this guy so badly?
Yeah.
And then he also remembers that, hey, wait, I also saw him get buried by rocks too.
And then see him 2 weeks later at the wedding.
Yeah.
But yeah, an interesting thing about the Blood Sea, though, is that it's like, I remember when I was first playing a Dragonlance campaign in college with one of my friends, and he was like, is that like a big jelly spot on your map? What happened? And I'm like, yeah. It's the Blood Sea. Got it. Jelly spot. Okay. There's another typo in this book where they're heading off to, apparently they're trying to go to Mythos, the island of the Minotaurs. For some reason unknown, I don't remember why they were wanting to do that, but they say Mithras instead. That's because they hadn't yet settled on what the term was going to be. But Tracy Hickman in the Annotated Chronicles is like, Mithras is obviously what the Minotaurs say, and Mythos is what the humans say because they can't pronounce Minotaur words. And I'm like, okay, buddy. Whatever. It's fine.
They're sailing, and all of a sudden, from the crow's nest, there's a call, sail to the west. And Maquesta's like, everyone looks, and they're like, is it a ship? And he's like, I can't tell. It's coming up fast. Maybe it's a cloud. Tanis knows what it is because he knows exactly what happened.
What could possibly be this giant speck of cloud?
Yeah. Racing towards them against the wind.
Yeah. Now they could all make out the specks of darkness on the horizon, specks that grew even larger as they watched. Then Tanis felt a wrenching pain because he knew exactly who was flying at them, and he knew who led them. Whoops.
That's so good. Tanis knew what flew towards them, and he knew who led them. And that's how the chapter ends. Kitiara does not appreciate being a spurned woman.
No, she has thoughts and wants to share them right now.
Well, and remember, she knows about the green gemstone man.
Yeah.
Because Tanis told her. So in her mind, she's probably thinking, oh, Tanis, maybe he's trying to get this for himself. She doesn't know that, like, maybe Tanis, she could just feel like, well, Tanis didn't betray me for a woman, but what does he know? And what did I tell him? And I told him that whoever gives the green gemstone man to Takesis will have power forever. And now he ran away as soon as I turned my back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of thing Kit would do.
Yeah.
So she probably is thinking that, like, oh, Tanis is betraying me.
Yeah. And remember, she literally said earlier in the chapter that she's got a watch on him.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, your people left and they ran
this boat.
And the boat took off.
Yeah.
Like, she's got multiple different reasons to want to chase after him.
Yep.
None of them are good for our party.
Nope.
And with that, we are going to be heading into chapter 3 of this story and seeing what happens when the dragons catch up to them in Gathering Darkness. For now, though, welcome back to season 3 of the Chronicles of Dragonlance. Here we are in spring dawning. Hope you guys enjoy this book as much as we do. I've been Shivam, that's been John. As always, our Patreon, patreon.com/Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast. Our blue skies and all of the other things will be in the notes below. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Yeah, you're peaking though, like so. It's fine. It'll be fine. Adobe, where it's like, hey, do you want me to summarize that for you? I'm like, no, I don't need you to summarize this rule book. One of the annoying things is that Dragonlance has multiple timelines.
They date it from different things, huh?
And because different editors had different ideas of what it was. And it was very, very annoying. I'm going to need a second because I thought I didn't really scroll down and realize we were doing chapter 2 as well.